Welcome back, everyone, to the North American Challengers League. Game number 1 already unfolded. Kiel, got your thoughts on that because you were with us on the broadcast, which means we can just go right into that halftime segment. And today's halftime segment
hold on.
is...
I do want to back up. And Kiel, could you repeat what you said about your wins over Cloud9 that Team Liquid did not do?
Well, our 3 bans were Jax, Sejuani, and Lucian, and C9 just played all 3. So I'm thinking we had a decent meta read on them, yeah.
Perhaps. It was definitely a bit of a one-sided affair. But go back, Eric. Now it's time to actually get into our game.
All right, we're back in. Okay, so hot takes is very simple. We got a meter 1 through 5. We're going to see what some of the talent has to say about this series and rate their takes on how spicy we think they are. So let's pull up the first one right now. We got a couple that I was able to get.
Did you forget the order they were in?
I'm trusting Jay for the most part. Okay. Puppy's going to be the first one.
Okay, well...
TLC won game number 1.
That's the spiciest take of them all, because they did not win.
I think, if it said win instead of won game 1, it wouldn't be quite as spicy. But now that we have seen it in hindsight, it just becomes a very spicy one, right? TLC did, in fact, not win game 1. But I think at the outset... Even then, I still think it'd probably be like a 3 or a 4 on a scale of 5 because, as you called out, Eric, Bradley had some of the best game 2s of 2022, but was not always having good game 1s.
I can agree with that. Yeah. Bradley was a bounce back top laner. So if we were to have that without the context of that game, I would give it a 3 on the spice meter.
What about you, Kiel? 1 through 5.
I have to give it a 5 because it's just false. Yeah, unless Cubby thinks there's some match fixing involved. Yeah, it doesn't get spicier than that.
Because it's just false. You hear that, Cubby? You're a liar. Called out by Kiel. Let's move on to the next date right now. I believe this one should be coming out from Beatdown. Let's see if I have my order right. I do. C9C are going to give Team Liquid some tender, loving care as they 2-0. It's kind of looking likely this time. I
don't know. I guess that means it's not particularly spicy. Kiel, you want to start?
I think it's like a 2 or 1 on the spice. Yeah, I think TL should probably like full adjust their like draft plan. At least get some form of engage is what I'd like to see. Because they're really struggling to do anything if their lanes aren't winning. And to be honest, I think if they play like skill matchups bot lane, it's probably like pretty hard for them to like realistically come out on top consistently. So I would just like to see either some form of engage or just like different lanes picked for TL side.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It's like a 2, maybe, right? Like, I would say that in general, I always like to give like partial numbers. I think like Cloud9 are supposed to win about 1.6, 1.7 of the games that we have going on today. And so far, with like a pretty dominant first one, the next one is like, they're going to win it probably like 80% of the time unless Bradley really bounces back and doesn't play the game like into Jax.
I gave this a 3, but I want to point out something as well. If you look at this take, it says it's from Beatdown. It says C9C are going to 2-0 Team Liquid. Stacy, if you're in the Twitch chat right now, that is Beatdown who said that. Throw all your flame at him in the Twitter chat, in the Twitch chat, any chat. DM him the flame as well. Let's move on to our next take.
Just so they're on the same page with us, Kiel. That is in fact APA's mom.
Oh, okay.
Yes. This next one's going to come from Mad Magical. Bradley needs to play Nasus against C9C.
Fantastic take.
Fantastic.
I don't know how to rate it good or bad, like in terms of spiciness. I'll say like a 3. I like a 3 spicy level because it's just a great take. We need to see some Nasus and maybe ban Jax.
Yeah. I could see it. I'm still gonna give it a 4, right? Like, needs to play Nasus. Like, he is one of the few Nasus players that we have that just sometimes bring it out topside. But, ooh, yeah, that's something you bring out in special cases only.
Just a 4?
Just a 4.
You telling me you don't want Bradley to have that? Oh,
I feel like we've pretty well established that Warwick is the dog. Oh.
It's more of a wolf than a dog. Nasus is actually the OG dog. Let's move on to our next hot take.
We need to get that image on the stream at some point, just so you're aware, Kiel. There's a certain thing. It's a Warwick missing an ultimate, and you cannot see anything like. And it is my favorite image I think I've ever seen in League of Legends.
Okay.
So we'll get that on the broadcast at some point just for you.
I'd be okay with the Bradley Warwick too, though. Yeah.
That would be fun. That'd be fun.
Okay, there will be 0 kills in the first 15 minutes of game number 2. Do we think this is going to be that slow of a game 2?
I think this is like the complete opposite. I think we'll see a bloody game. I just feel like TL probably feel like suffocated and like hopeless after that game, and they just want to fight because they couldn't really make anything happen. So I would assume we're gonna see some aggression from TL.
So with that in mind, that this is probably just flat wrong. How hot of a take?
I think it's like a 5 on Spicy.
Is it a 5?
Yeah, I just think the opposite kind of.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense because if we think it's just wrong, then I guess that does make it very hot.
Yeah.
Does it?
Like on the one hand, I want to say like it's kind of like it's what 0 kills in 15 minutes. You know the mirror like gang's bottom lane at 3 minutes every single game, right? Like someone's probably gonna die. It doesn't necessarily have to be like Cloud9, but someone's probably gonna die in the first 5 minutes.
Spicy hot takes are tricky because like Spice, it hurts you, right? But you're supposed to like the hurt in the process. Josh, don't say anything on that. I'm gonna give this one a 2 because I don't really like the hurt for this one. I think the spice might be there, but it's not an enjoyable spice, King. All right. Next hot take is gonna come from Rafa, and this is one I'm excited to talk about a little bit. I want to see what you guys think. APA solo kills Eminus.
That's a 5. That's a 5 right there.
I'll give it like a 3 or like a 4. A 4 is a more realistic.
Okay.
Because it's just up to champs. If we're saying Talia, I hope no Talia, but maybe if we got like an APA Kled, an APA Galio, something like this, maybe Tristana, I can see some solo kills happening.
I did see APA playing Kled in solo queue. Unfortunately, he was 0-3 by the time I walked in. So
yeah.
maybe not the best sign of what's actually to come. So I would love to see APA solo kill Eminus. That would be a huge boost of confidence for the boy. But like, he didn't come close to that at all in game 1.
He wasn't that far off. He did have some pretty good checks here and there, some trades here and there. Obviously, Eminus got the better of the laning in the long run. I think this is incredibly spicy, especially because it's APA's first season, being out of Maryville, stepping out of Collegiate, coming into semi-pro. That would be a really good achievement to get a solo kill on someone who's been so hyped up, such as Eminus. So I think it's incredibly spicy, and I also like the spice, so I'm giving that one a 5.
There you go. I think that kind of settles it, right? Like, that is one of the ones where it's like, we would love to see this happen, but very, very tough to actually make happen.
All right, we got one more hot take before we wrap this up, and this one is going to come from Mazel. Neither of these teams are winning the split. Oh,
okay. Now, neither of them, I think both of these teams are capable of winning the split, right? But I also think that there are about 6 or 7 teams that I think can win the split. And so, with that, that's tough. Wildcard is in that list, right? I think you have like Cloud9, Team Liquid. I'm still pretty high on Evil Geniuses. Wildcard are in there. CLG are in there. Dignitas are in there. So like that's 6 teams right there that I think are all capable of winning the split. And so I think Cloud9 is most likely to. So I'm going to give this like a 3, you know? It's like, even if they have the highest percentage with so many teams potentially in the running, like they have to, they can't afford to make a single mistake.
All right, Kill, how are you feeling about it? What's the spice onto this one?
Like a 2, yeah. Because, I mean, I think we're favorites, honestly. And then, other than us, like, yeah, either of these teams, like, sure, they're like, everyone's like upper half somewhere. So, just hard to say. Yeah, like a 2 or 2.5 maybe.
I think I've established that this red back here is not for Valentine's. This is actually for Wildcard. You know what? I'm gonna give that one a 3. I think it's an interesting take to have. I'm very much on board with a lot of the stuff that Josh had just said a moment ago.
Yep.
I would like this take more if he said which team would. You know, like neither of these teams are winning the split because this team's winning. And, you know, because of that, it's like neither of them are winning. It's like, you know, I'd say like 50% of the time, one of these teams, maybe a little over that, 40% of the time, one of these teams, I think, realistically wins.
All right. Well, we are getting word that our draft for game number 2 is going to be ready. So, Kill, if you don't mind, go ahead and go do a full clear. Come right back, and we'll have you for the game.
Yep, sounds good.
We do always have to wonder, right? I know Rafa, one of the other casters, I always gave him crap for this, but when he wasn't doing anything, he would just sit there and he would grind weird champs pathing all the time, right? So it's like, if you wanted to know how quickly Lulu jungle could clear, you could ask Mark, because he would have done it like 20 times at this point, right? But you don't need to know that information, but you have it.
I remember the old videos, like in like season 3, 4. It used to be a jungler named Stonewall who put on these like informational little tutorials on how to jungle every single champion and like the optimal runes to make it happen. It's always fun stuff seeing stats like that and what people come up with, because they end up being useful. They end up being things that are followed through with. But we are now heading into the draft, so let's see what is getting banned away. Do notice that Draven gets banned, and every time I see the Draven taken away, I get a little bit sad. Arrow's one of the more fun players that does pilot this champ. Yeah,
Arrow is also one of the better laning AD carries that we do have. But we also have to go back. None of the champions that Keel was saying needed to be banned against Cloud9 that they banned in their 2-0 came through. So Lucian, Nami going to be going over to Lost and Zeyzal yet again. This has been their most common, and the Jinx snap locked in by Arrow. And the Nautilus? Okay, this is a bit of a throwback coming through from Team Liquid. I must admit, I'm not super fond of it, but it does give them engage tools, which they were sorely missing out on last time. But the problem is, like, the lane is going to be so hard.
Yeah, this is Jinx Nautilus into Lucian Nami, one of the most aggressive bot lanes you have that's not named Kalista Renata to that extent. Oh, I really wonder what the grander idea is here for Team Liquid. I mean, can't play towards that bottom lane with Mirror being on this Elise. You do have a lot of crowd control and lockdown to try and stop this Lucian Nami. We got to see more of the draft to go through. We got to see what the solo lanes are going to be, and we are in the second phase of the draft to get that answer.
Yeah. All right. Keel's saying in chat with us, Jinx is OP. So, I mean, if there's any team that knows about the unusual picks, it would be Wildcard. So we will see whether or not it will have the opportunity to play. I'm really worried that you now need to build up kind of a front line, and this is... It feels like 3 champions that don't necessarily play together super well. Obviously, if you can get this Jinx ahead, suddenly it's a huge win condition for Team Liquid Challengers. But Cloud9, I feel like they just have such a strong bottom lane, both in terms of players and in terms of champions, that will be very difficult to get Arrow to kind of get those first resets. And one of the things you always need with the Jinx is you need some alpha strike. You need some burst of damage early on in order to get Jinx to start resetting.
What I do like for TL is the pick that they have, just having the Nautilus and Elise as it is. They set each other up quite well. Cocoon sets up Hook, Hook sets up Cocoon, and you do have that first layer of crowd control to come through. Got to see what the solo lanes are to see what's going to get piled on alongside that. And we are going to get one answer right now. For Fake God, he's taking the Fiora over into the top lane.
Yeah, the Fiora is definitely something that Fake God has had a lot of games on, but with the Cassante, the Jax, the Gangplank all taken off, the Renekton also gone as well, there's a lot of pressure on Bradley to kind of come up with an answer. One of the things that I remember him playing in this matchup a long time ago was Gwen, was one of his favorite answers, but we saw that earlier come through for Ryoma. But I don't remember seeing, I don't think I've seen a lot of play from this off of APA. I wonder if it's a Bradley pick. This is actually a decent pick into the Fiora.
It might not be because of this hover we're getting through, yeah.
Oh, wait,
focusing on the top lane. This is going to be a mid lane Tristana that's going to get locked in. They were listening a little bit there. I saw that Nasus hover for a moment. But yeah, that is going to be the call for APA with the Kennen. Okay.
Interesting. I haven't seen Bradley play Kennen in a long time, but it is some much needed magic damage AoE coming out from Team Liquid.
And again, damage on the squad.
Keel is letting us know that there has been plenty of APA Tristana being tweeted about, so it is something that very likely to be going over for Ian. One of the big things about the Tristana is it tends to be very lane dominant, but if you fail to get off the ground, it becomes very, very tough. And this is a bold pick coming out from Jimenez. As somebody who is a big mid lane Tristana enjoyer myself, this is a really easy matchup for the Tristana to really be aggressive on. The big thing, though, that you need to be very careful of is if you have to use your jump defensively away from Jimenez stun, that's a lot of your kill pressure absolutely gone instantly. You need to be able to be the one dictating when fights are actually happening, so you need to make sure that you preserve your HP and don't get caught off guard when Jimenez is likely to start the stun at level 1.
And that's the thing about Eminus, though. He's willing to check even in matchups that aren't exactly to his favor. I remember seeing that with, there was a LeBlanc Cassiopeia matchup where he didn't even care that Miasma was going to be an issue. He was still going to blow up backlines whether you wanted it or not. And it still feels like a strong comp coming out from the side of Cloud9. Very curious onto some of the things that Kill has to say, and we're going to be bringing them back in just a moment as both of our drafts are now done. We are ready for game number 2 of Team Liquid Challengers versus Cloud9 Challengers.
And as we load onto the Rift, it is going to be definitely a very different look coming out from Team Liquid. Very much about playing towards the top side. I've been fairly vocal. I'm not a fan of Gnar, but this is one matchup where I do like seeing Gnar still come through, and Team Liquid going to be giving up a lot of control over the bush as Cloud9 very firmly taking control of this.
All right, Kill, what do you make of this draft right now? You were chatting us up a little bit during the champion select about APA being a pretty good monster on this tryst.
I do like Till's drafts a lot more than in general. Yeah, they have some forms of engage, like they even have the cannon flank, and then APA is on a lane where he can actually like be moving to side lanes, be getting push. Pretty funny that C9 just picked Silas into tryst anyway. I think that's like in a Menez special, like he's just willing to play it with a ganking jungler.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty fun draft for TL.
I mean, Silas plus Sejuani is a classic combination too, right? You just have so much gank pressure coming through. You have the melee top lane as well for Tomio to kind of play with. I'm kind of looking at this, well, one, there's the double Yordle solo lanes, which is always exciting coming out for Team Liquid, but also it's a situation where they are kind of relying on their top lane and their mid lane having good laning phases in order to play up against Cloud9, who it feels like have a very standard composition and can kind of do a little bit of everything.
I was kind of shocked, to be honest, after seeing that Kennen lock, and I had to double check my monitor to see if that was Jenkins over there on the top side. It's something we haven't seen in a very long time. Yeah, that was a very strong pocket pick for when Jenkins was on TL, and even pulled it out a few times on CLG. But this is Bradley we're talking about, you know, completely different player, and going against the
I do like Kennen here. It's not too bad for the comp. C9 is not very like long range, and Kennen shouldn't have too much trouble like finding angles to engage.
Yeah.
So not a bad pick.
Interesting tech coming through from Bradley, holding on to his skill point, not putting into anything so that he can back up as necessary if he ever needs to panic button on his E. But one of the other things that is kind of telling between the differences in playstyles, right? You have APA on the Tristana, you had Ryoma playing this in the mid lane earlier today. Ryoma went Halo Blades, right? Going for the power now, saying, I want to start fighting, I want to start beating up on my opponent. But AP has gone with the lethal tempo, which is going to really help out with some of the longer fights, especially up against something like Tomio, but doesn't give you the same kind of kill pressure, maybe just relying on the fact that this is such a good matchup anyway.
Mid lane setup coming in. APA trying to get the rocket jump onto M&S, flash away coming out from M&S, and now Tomio is in a world of hurt. Might need to burn his flash in the process.
Ooh, APA almost dies there too. Both teams get to live. The one thing I do like from TL is that you can notice all 3 lanes are now pushing compared to last game. I think they did kind of agree that they just needed to have some agency in the game, and now they're kind of getting it with a nice fight on mid.
Yeah. Try not to interact as much either. There they go, they find the hook.
Able to get it in, Kim Down leading it onto Zeyzal. But you got to watch for Lost, because Lost is hopping right on to Kim Down. It was going to be used. Oh, juggling around with the Fog of War. First blood still found. Lost is going to go down for it, though. Arrow will return the kill right back. Mir tries to get it onto Zeyzal. Zeyzal will escape 1 for 1.
Very cute from Kim Down, going back and forth between the different brushes in order to try and break line of sight. Fortunately, not enough to keep them alive, but definitely buying more time for Arrow to just spray away on Lost. And now this is a much bigger lead for Arrow and Kim Down as they do get the wave to crash.
Just love this so much. Kim Down playing with this Fog of War. The engage was onto Zeyzal, and instantly, yeah, Lost just takes deals so much damage to Kim Down. But look at this. Now you see me, now you don't.
You see me, now you don't. Nice use of push, actually. Yeah, very good.
I'm over here.
Also made Nami run up to him so you could get Nami splash with Elise. Yeah, just nice play from Kim Down.
Yeah, honestly, really good. There's still some really bright spots for this young player, and the fact that they get such a great wave state after it as well is massive. But now look at this, the flash over, no flash.
Ooh, Kim Down not going to find it on M&S.
Since that bot play, all Mir has done is bot crab and sit mid. So Mir is fully committing to this ganking, pressuring around mid, and APA is in a huge CS lead too off of it.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, we said this was supposed to be a really good matchup for the Tristana, and Amana's really kind of struggling to actually get any of the gold. They are getting a lot of the experience at the very least, so they are maintaining their spot alongside APA, but really putting Amenas back a lot further. It makes me wonder, you know, we've talked about the herbivore build, the vegetarian build with the Roa. Do you think that's more likely now?
Hard to say. In general, I think it'd be okay this game, yeah, but I'm not sure what Amenas thinks. He may prefer just a higher damage build. I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Silas, yeah.
And Mir at the same time, I mean, remember what you said, he only did a single crab, he's done a single camp since then. I think it was his Raptors.
Yeah, just Raptors into another bot gank. I do like the look though, because Zeyzal no flash, looking like a free kill.
Easy cocoon setup. Mir follows through, gets the kill first. Already going to be picked up. First exchange picked up here by Team Liquid. Not much follow-up to be found by Cloud9. They'll just lose their support.
Yeah, very well played from TL. I really like these looks when they actually have engaged now too, instead of just the Lux. They're finding a lot easier angles to get onto the enemy team, man.
It's a much fatter skill shot to play with as well, right? The light binding, not the easiest thing in the world to land, but so far Team Liquid's lanes are going a whole lot better in Game 2 than they did in Game 1, and putting Lost in a position where they aren't as strong is going to be something that will really help out Team Liquid, because one of the things that I've oftentimes been critical of Arrow of is, one, they are a good laner, but they will oftentimes get caught trying to be too aggressive later in the game, and when Lost can't just gat you down, it makes it so much easier to actually play out some of these lane states or these game states, because you're not going to be in a position where you're suddenly worried about getting blown up by the culling.
Yep, and funnily enough, we see Mir back to the bot side, just another one camp into run into river. Not to say it's bad, just funny, because he has not even entered topside in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Nice run from Kim down here, dodge the ward. But it looks like they're just trying to pressure and play for the early dragon. I do really like this from TL, because it's kind of what their comp needs, going against the Sejuani and the Fiora even, just to force a soul point onto Fiora before she can out-split push you and like threaten like your Nexus.
Yeah, and whose take was it that we're not going to be
that was Kangas, I believe, yeah.
Minutes? Yeah, wrong, get wrecked, Steve. No.
Yeah, Mir playing with a lot of purpose in this game.
Just gotta say, CLG LCS can't win while he's there. He can't beat me in Warhammer, and now his hot take is wrong. This is just L after L for you, Steve.
Can we stop beating up Steve? Come on.
No. He deserves it.
I will call Rafa on you. You know he's not afraid to hop on channel while you're on broadcast. He'll beat you up.
Anyway, sorry, I know you had a real point, Eric. They're just bashing on our fellow talent.
I actually forgot what it was. I needed to defend Steve after that, so that became my focus.
Well, anyway, I just like the pathing from Mir, yeah. I think the adaptations TL made are very good so far. And as long as bot lane doesn't get too rough, they should be pretty good.
I am still rather impressed with how well Lost and Zeyzal have been managing Kim down in a lot of these small interactions, right, that aren't necessarily turning into fights, right? Every time that Kim down goes for a hook that doesn't land, it's a small victory for Lost and Zeyzal, because that's another, like, 10 seconds where they can kind of farm for free. And so with all the attention that Mir's put down here, I still feel like there's a lot of credit to give over to the Cloud9 bottom lane.
Up in a really good base from Kim down. We see C9's bot lane can't even walk up, even though no one is there. Now that they see Elise, they'll probably start walking up, yeah. But just really well played from TL to base on Fog like that, and even get like a free Rift Herald out of it.
That's the magic that we've mentioned many times in the past about how Team Liquid adapt. It feels like a very much org-centered thing, as they used to do this a lot, where they would just have these very questionable game number ones every now and then, but bounce back so strong in game number 2, exactly having purpose on where they want to put their resources, and that's what we're kind of seeing right now in this game 2 versus Cloud9.
Yeah, I assume credit to their coaching staff for it, because it is like a night and day difference between this game and the last.
I was going to ask, because Spawn, Team Liquid's coach, is oftentimes very, very blunt with a lot of his feedback. How is your coaching staff at helping you bounce back between Game 1 and Game 2?
I feel the same way with our team. Like, if we have a good Game 1, I know we're going to have a really easy Game 2. I think we're really good at making the adaptations. And like even in our series against C9, he pointed out, like, my coach pointed out something with like vision control, where we weren't sweeping behind us, we were getting flanked all the time. And the very next game, it was like no longer an issue. So yeah, I felt the same way. Like our staff was, I mean, it's mostly just Coach Griffin, was just like really good at adapting to it.
Oh, APA
trading heavy on mid.
Yeah, ultimate comes out from
Tomio
Tomio.
with the aggressive, we'll say aggressive use of flash there. Or a nice dodge from APA. And it sets up really easy now for TL to play bot side. APA has to give prio, but he can just start pushing like 1v1 now.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, that's kind of another small difference, right? APA going with the teleport versus Ryomo with the ignite, right? And Menace looking for this look.
Over in the mid lane. Initiates onto APA. APA might try and buster shot him into the tower. Oh,
he is though, no mana for the ult.
Oh, and that could have been the kill right there if he just could have had that ult through. And Super Mega Death Rocket gonna whiz on by.
Yeah. Ooh, barely missing Fake God out as well. I think that's 100% what he was trying to do, but he just ran out of mana sometimes. You know, math is hard.
Yep, I like this sitting from Mir too, just make sure APA can push before he dies. And once Trist is back in lane, I'm sure it's even easier for Ariane.
Yeah. Definitely going to have enough mana here as well as APA. Oh, expends it in order to make sure the wave pushes out, but Mir does have a lot more priority. And has he ever done his blue buff? Has anybody noticed? Has anybody
Not once in 11
Not
minutes.
a single time?
Yeah. Because after he got the Herald, he just decided to base and help his bot lane.
Yeah.
But now he's going to get the blue buff, you'd think.
Kidding me.
We'll see. Okay,
so
nice.
far,
He is pulling it, yeah.
So far, it's been pretty good. Like, the bottom lane was... I was a little bit worried about how the Jinx Nautilus would interact with Lucian Nami on its own, and I guess the answer is, well, just try lane it. Just pretend we're playing Dota and have an extra person in the lane the entire time. We'll sometimes go do jungle camps. So, ultimately, it definitely feels as though Team Liquid are in a much stronger position, but as Jinx gets really strong right now, Tristana is going to be a lot weaker for a little while, right? Doesn't have a completed item, and this is oftentimes the most dangerous part of playing Tristana, is the character kind of sucks until it gets 2 items if you don't find a big lead in lane.
I agree, because like even in terms of 2v2, I think this is probably C9's like strongest point so far in the game, where they can actually like fight back. They're tanky enough to live the burst, like on both members. So we'll have to see if C9 choose to fight the dragon or just what they do.
And that's what's spawning next. 20 seconds before that dragon does come down. And already Tomio's headed in that position. So is Mir. So maybe the attention of both teams is going to be looking at this Drake.
4 control wards also expended by Team Liquid in the bottom side river. It looks like they're the ones who want to dictate when and where the fight actually happens. And what do you know? Mir's still down here. Hey, he cleared the entire top side. They're starting to look for Jimenez, who they know is going to be aggressive.
Yep. Tomio ends up showing, but I think he just really wants to push from his bot lane here. Nothing wrong with this. Now this little angle to the left here is a little scary for Tomio, yeah. He's gotta watch the Nautilus hooks.
Ooh, barely slides out
nice
of it.
bait and a nice Sejuani ult.
Oh, with the tidal wave to follow through, Mir's in a lot of trouble. Tomio's trying to follow it, but the depth charge gets
AP
knocked
looking
up
for a
on
solo
the
kill on mid.
entirety of the bottom of Cloud9. Now the root gonna be found out. Zazel runs low, flashes out. Low health bars for 2 members of TL. Same thing for Cloud9. Limit testing, really maxing out these health bars right now in that skirmish.
Yeah, and Rafa's solo, or prediction, almost coming true as well, as you called out, Keel. Jimenez being forced to back, a ton of damage being done there. Both of them now down the flash, but that is going to be a 2-plate win coming up for APA. Doesn't get the solo kill, but effectively gets the gold anyway on the other side of the map, and that will allow Team Liquid to set up and pick up their 2nd dragon of the game, a much improved situation over Game 1.
Yeah, very well played from TL. Like once they get to live from that bot lane 3v3, they're in a great spot now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm happy to see Jimenez losing a bit in this like ego counter pick, like self counter pick on 5. I'm glad to see APA doing well.
Yeah. It's always fascinating to me watching people go for these counter picks, right? Bradley got bitten a little hard with the self counter pick of the Gangplank, not able to take control of the game on that one. But Jimenez, I mean, it's not out, right? He does have the Rod of Ages stacking up as Bradley needs to leave. No ult from
Bradley needs
Tomio.
to head for the hills. Flashes out of the Arctic Assault. Yeah, Bradley. Cost him his flash, but will get out.
Yeah. I wonder if Bradley knew that Tomio had no ultimate.
You have to think, but yeah. I think worst case he probably could have just flashed it. Now this is a little scary for TL though. I will say once Silas is in mid game, he can still team fight really well and like find engages. Yeah.
And Lost trying to come in on the flank. Gets caught out by Mir.
Lost nearly one shot.
Ooh, Mir's able to get out. Now still getting some chip damage is going to be APA. MNS walking over towards where Mir is. Spots out the spider. Takes a different route. Back to the mid lane. Came down, waiting for that hook to come through. Not going to take it. Team Liquid going to go neutral.
I think Kim Down lost where the Scuttle Crab was because he threw it at Jimenez and instantly hit the Scuttle Crab. Might not have killed the Silas, but definitely a better look. But either way, Arrow in the bottom lane, completely untouched. It's the first tower. APA.
This is very scary for APA.
APA overextending. Tries to catch out M&S, gets punished in the process thanks to that bubble. Zazel being there. Fight going to continue as Tomio puts down the ultimate on Kim Down. Lost is
could be
here.
disaster
Slides
for
forward, and Team Liquid are about to lose a lot. Or are they? They turn it on a dime and take down Lost. Now here comes Big Bradley. That's the Slicing Maelstrom available in a few. Doesn't even need it. Will just take down the fish without much of an issue. The bot lane of C9C goes down.
Huge turnaround coming from Team Liquid in that fight, right? Kim Down finding the space to turn it around with the hook really turns that situation around. In the top side, Bradley's not going to lose a lot. He might lose a couple of minions for that teleport and really saving the rest of his team. Great teleport as well.
As we take a look at the state of the game, 15 minutes, 30 seconds in. It's going to be a gold lead coming out for Team Liquid. Playing the game quite well so far. You've seen moments and glimmers from Cloud9, but so far this early game has been a Team Liquid control.
Yeah. This year, unfortunately, APA just stun locked. Not a lot that happens there, but the fight on the other side is where things get a little bit dicier, right? Kim Down needs to buy space in order to not actually die as we see the Rip Child get started up, but getting his way over towards this side where he can actually find the hook onto Lost through the traps absolutely turns the fight.
Just very well played by Nautilus to save the fight for them, honestly, yeah. It could have been very scary had the hook not landed. But yeah, really good pick on Illusion.
So much respect for Kim Down, who was wasn't viewed as the best support during the tryouts, but someone Team Liquid have put their faith in, and he's been paying dividends quite decently well. Been playing exactly to what Team Liquid have needed, exactly what Arrow has needed in the spot lane. Teleport going to be burnt away from M&S. He will be able to get out before the Buster Shot gets too close.
Yeah, and at the same time, Cloud9 pushing up the mid lane. Unlikely to take the entire structure, especially with the full response from Team Liquid.
Nice Sejuani. Kim Down has nowhere to go.
Kim Down will get taken out. A simple pick for Cloud9 Challengers.
Yeah. Good stuff. I mean,
this is the strength of Sejuani in this meta. Just catching out random people with no threat of dying yourself. It's just always good at farming noobs.
Yeah.
No, not even like not to blame Kim Down. It's just any noob is a victim to Sejuani. Yeah.
Oh, if you just get hit by Sejuani, well, even if you weren't a noob before, you become one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. All right, we are going to quote you on that one in the future.
No, that's okay. Yeah. That's right from Moose Hater.
That's from Moose Hater. All right, Moose Haterism going to be coming at you live fairly soon. But the fact that Cloud9, or excuse me, the Team Liquid do have this small lead, and they're pushing APA to a position where they won't be able to get to that second item, really gets them into a spot where they can really take control of a lot of these upcoming objectives. And crucially, I mean, we saw the calling coming up from Lost just a moment ago. Remember how much damage that was doing last game around this time?
Yep.
Yeah, it's night and day. Night and day coming through as they start to create a little bit more space, and Team Liquid already with 2 dragons, now sitting up for a 3rd.
I do like TL's position though, because they do have this hyper carry and Jinx. If she can get a reset, she kind of can match Lucian's damage output.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of tools to try and get that one pick, like the cocoon and the hook. I'm assuming that's just like TL's idea with their draft.
Yeah.
I like their Herald open on mid too, mostly just playing for Dragon, but still playing on mid wave first. And now it's going on to the 5v5.
We're going to be looking a lot at how M&S chooses to play this fight, right? What flank can they find? What ultimate can they use? If they can get a Slicing Maelstrom from this angle, that's crazy.
Take it.
M&S could also steal an ult, yes.
Okay, it's going to be secured over on Team Liquid, but the team fight will continue, pushed away. Slicing Maelstrom lands onto absolutely no one, and M&S can counter-engage with Depth Charge, finds it onto the backline. Kim Down is cut down, and so is Arrow. 2 back-to-back kills for Cloud9 on the counter-engage onto Team Liquid.
They have a turret, they still have some flashes to play with, but Bradley with no ultimate, they go!
Oh, M&S once again goes man mode onto APA, and the follow-through from Fake God will get 1 kill, get 2 kills, looking for the 3rd. Spider in the rafters. Let's go get the raid out of the back cabinet and spray her down. Mir, there's nowhere to go. Goes in with Cocoon. Nice fancy flash, but it's all said and done.
Great dive. Great dive coming out from Cloud9. A huge fight, right? Bradley gets tested. They ask, are you going to ult? And he does. And Menace is able to re-engage from that. Watch how Menace plays around this Kennen ultimate, right? He goes in, and with him stunned, he gets the first ult, and then instantly, it's the Buster Shot. The 2 Yordles out of the same page this time around.
From C9, yeah. Honestly, they just outplayed it. It was just really clean.
Yeah. Great
Even
stuff.
Jimenez choosing to go the Nautilus over Kennen there because he knew about the Buster Shot. Just really good like forward thinking.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. And this is a great dive. Like, there's a small criticism. If APA flashes away from the stun, maybe it's, you know, you could get a couple kills on the backside, but Cloud9, no risk to them whatsoever. And on the other side, right, Lost just needs to flash the stun, needs to not get hit by the early damage, does so. And Mira has nowhere to go.
And what was a pretty good early game for Team Liquid is now starting to just completely fall apart after those last couple plays. Take a look at what Twitter is saying right now to you, Keel. Keel is one of the best analysts I've heard on stream in a really long time. So refreshing. Please invite him back. You want a job, Keel? You want to stick with us?
Maybe later down the road. Yeah, thank you, though.
All right. Well, as we continue moving on this game, what's the position from which Cloud9 can take control? Because Team Liquid are still only one dragon away from the Soul, and APA and Arrow will both be getting their second item online fairly soon.
Yeah, I think for Scene. Oh
yeah, Bradley.
Nice parry from Fake God.
Bradley caught out.
Like a solo kill.
Sad for the rat. Oh, nice.
Okay, really good flash
from Bradley. He will survive.
Yeah. All right. Well, impressive living at the very least. But let's go back to the Cloud9 discussion. How do they take control of this game from here?
Well, we just got a little highlight of how side lane may start to look for the side of C9. I think for TL, they really do have to start pressuring the Soul and making sure they don't lose Baron. They're not exactly on a timer. They just have to make sure they're like forcing team fights and like fights before Fiora becomes too much of an issue on side lane.
Yeah.
So I would like to see them like try and contest Soul, try and contest mid waves, and just fight the 4-man because Fiora is pretty invincible on side lane.
Yeah. We also see Arrow now has the Infinity Edge coming out as well. We'll be doing way more damage all of a sudden, whereas APA still a little ways away from their next item. So Cloud9, I mean, they do have a small window where Tristan is still only like half of a champion, but APA should actually have the completed item by the time the next dragon spawns up.
I'm really hoping Kim Down has a mythic by then too, because he may be down a lot of power, but a nice pick. Maybe they find a Menace.
Yeah. Ooh, nice buster shot from MNS, but I don't think it's enough. Yeah, depth charge is there. We'll try to return one kill, but you don't do enough damage, buddy. Team Liquid will get that pick on the top side, and Cloud9, they might look for a retort right here.
Yeah. Cloud9, they have everybody here, but I don't know if they have the damage going up against the full brunt of Team Liquid. They didn't use all of their ultimates, and with another turret going down, they find themselves in another even gold situation. And again, we have to look for when APA's next item comes through. The Infinity Edge, the Navori Quick Blades, whatever it is he chooses to go for, will be doing so much more damage. And as everybody backs away, we have a minute left until the Dragon, and look at that, they're starting up the Baron. Team Liquid did this to them in Game 1.
Well, it's looking like TL may just lose Baron for free, unfortunately. They're just thinking about Dragon. I don't even think they really know.
There's no way they know.
No. They suspect something. The pings are coming
they know
out.
now.
They got a lot of question mark pings coming out, but it's too late. This Baron is taken, and
Brutal, yeah.
C9C, they sneak it.
Great stuff coming through, and now Team Liquid, they do have to be very careful. 30 seconds on the Dragon.
Ultimate coming out. It's on to Mir. Tidal wave. Slicing Maelstrom. Bradley trying to hold the line. Will be able to take down Tomio, but it's returned as Arrow falls. Now here comes MNS waiting to tear apart anyone who steps into his area. 3 fall for Cloud9. It only cost them Tomio.
Great sequence coming out from Cloud9. They instantly just go and they find the people that they need to. Arrow's the first one to actually go down in the fight, and he's the one who needs to get that reset. He's the one who needs to play safe at the beginning in order to get that. I would love to take another look at it because it is going to be Cloud9. They get the Baron, they stop the Dragon's Soul from coming out, and Team Liquid, like, they're not outscaled yet, but it's definitely so much harder when you can't just chain objective into objective.
Yeah, everyone in TL was like 30 seconds from having their flashback up on this engage, so just a really good quick engage from Tomio. Good presence of mind to know that he can win this fight.
Yeah. And they go for a mirror at the very beginning, but Bradley has a much better ultimate this time around, locking down Tomio and Jimenez. But the big thing is
Arrow actually gets hit with that Nami flash bubble and then just dies to it.
Oh, that'll do it, yeah. As soon as you get your way onto Arrow, the fight is over. You were never able to set up that back line of just a fire base. And so Cloud9, great job just blitzing Team Liquid in that fight.
What the world do you do about MNS? He walked up to Bradley in the Slicing Maelstrom, takes his ult, and then goes to use it on his own team. MNS is so far ahead right now. Hard to really stop him.
He did go for the Roa build too, so he is kind of just so tanky that he can frontline for his team. Yeah. And just like let Lucian and Fiora like do the damage while he just like CCs everyone.
Yeah. I mean, Bradley on this Kennen, I'm a little bit surprised to see it come out as they
Another engage.
got a bit.
Yeah, Tomio.
Little over aggressive.
Anytime that ultimate's off cooldown, Tomio's looking to press R.
Yeah, and that is the strength of Sejuani too. Like, even though she whiffed the ult, it didn't really have any follow-up. There's no, like, she's not like a Vi diving in. He can just chill now. And then as long as someone bases to defend bottom, eventually they should be good.
And they're going to be, yeah, they're going to be on the opposite sides of the map, right? There's a teleport coming out from Fake God. The turret will not get grabbed up by APA, whereas Fake God will take the top lane one. That's another big gold win.
Yeah, interesting TP. I'm guessing we see C9 just hard set up bot side now, with Fake God no TP, and they just try and play through 2 lanes. But it is kind of limiting themselves. I guess I'm guessing C9 really wants to just dive tier 2 bot, or even tier 3 with the TP usage, and want to play fast with their comp.
But we have the big items coming out. Navori, Quick Blades already being finished up by Tristana, and so this is going to be one of the big fights that matters a lot for Team Liquid, right? If they can take this next fight, then they're suddenly very much back in the game.
And shout out coming out from Alk Battery. Kangas wants Diamond on the show for playoffs. Mermage wants Kill on the show for playoffs.
They're preying on our downfall. Yeah, it is what it is.
Maybe it's the long-term caster curse.
Yeah.
Right, not able to do it.
Months from now, I'll remember.
Yeah, just remember, it was Mermage the Observer.
It's okay, I won't hold a grudge. Now we see Tomio top, his whole team is bot side, and I'm very scared for Jimenez here. Luckily Jinx isn't with them, but it's questionable from C9 here.
That's what I was going to mention right now. Just MNS by himself. Can he actually pull it off in a 1v3? Damn right MNS can. Will follow the process, but man, the play was made and Cloud9 will follow through onto Mir and splat the spider with a triple kill for Fake God.
Fake God was smurfing off screen there too, yeah.
Yeah, where was Arrow in that whole fight though? There was 4 members of Team Liquid trying to make that pick happen. Yeah, Kim down fights on the other half of that fight, but I just saw Arrow coming out of base towards the end of it.
I think he was just catching mid, and then same with Tomio. I think no one was expecting really a fight to occur, and then
yeah, it looks like just a pick coming through. We'll take another look at this one, right? MNS just sees so many people coming through, and yeah, Arrow is just catching the wave in mid lane. And I mean, with this number of people, you should definitely be expecting this fight to break out in favor of Team Liquid, but it's supposed to be a 1-for-1, but MNS turns it right around. There's nothing left.
Merc treads are too OP, I don't know. It's just a Jimenez in a side lane against 2 AP champs, and he is not very killable.
MNS stiff, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're very well played to make time.
Yeah. So, with a minute left on another Dragon Arrow.
Oh, no.
TP playing for Jimenez.
Oh no, MNS is in that type of mood. Flashes into the cocoon.
Okay.
He's caught out by the
hits the spider link too. But very worth for Jimenez. Getting
so many good
flash
plays.
is huge.
You gotta have
I'm just saying, if he successfully flashes over the cocoon, you guys would be freaking out right now. You saw what he was going for.
It was still really good by him. Getting Jinx flash is huge. I don't know if he wanted those chains to hit though. A little scary, and he does just end up dying.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he wanted
classic
that
silence down.
Now Kim down, locks down Tomio. Crowd control goes out, forces the flash out of Tomio. Colin getting returned out of Lost, trying to bring the damage through, but this is an uneven advantage. TLC push Cloud9 back out, but not without losing their tower.
But also look at what is coming up in 20 seconds, right? The Infernal Soul could get picked up for Team Liquid, and that buys them a lot of time, that buys them a lot of strength. So Cloud9 need to keep them in the base and try and find a pick as Team Liquid come back out towards the Dragon, because Jimenez will not have teleport.
Yeah, I'm assuming C9 will just group for at least the Dragon timer, and then they'll probably just play on the Baron. Maybe Fake God can go bottom if he wants to and just like threaten end with his Hull Breaker. But even with Hull Breaker, I think C9 are just very willing to team fight. I like to look from TL again, looking for this flank for Kennen. It's probably one of their only angles to get a good fight off. If they can somehow get onto Lost with Kennen without flash, then they have a really good chance to win the fight.
They have a small window here where Jimenez is not there. They're going to try and burn down the Dragon.
Yeah, MNS doesn't have teleport, so Team Liquid, they're going to play to this. 4K health remains. Fake God on the side will challenge onto Bradley. Secure, Dragon Soul goes over to Team Liquid. Ooh, will Cloud9 do anything else with this? They're not going for the fight.
And Jinx still alive, very good for TL.
Yeah. Wow. Tomio's ult was coming up right as Team Liquid disengaged as well, and now Cloud9 barreling their way over towards the Baron.
CL looking to just full give and play bottom. Interesting decision. I'm curious how Fake God will spawn here.
Yeah, I mean, this turret is absolutely gone. But can Team Liquid do even more, right? This Baron's taking a while to actually take down. Team Liquid could have potentially picked up an inhibitor if they committed. No way, Arrow doesn't steal another one, does he?
Oof.
No.
Doesn't even hit.
Do you remember, like, a week ago when Arrow actually stole the Infernal Soul with a blind Draven ult? You guys see that?
Not me, but good for him.
Yeah, who was it against? It was against Svenskeren, it was against TSM.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It was absolutely brutal. Completely blind. The Whirling Death just goes out, steals that. I think if they pick up the Baron there, that also buys them a ton of time in this game. So, APA, Arrow still looking for their third item. This is, if they win one more fight, they are really back in the game, but this next one is still so tough because they don't have control of what's happening on the map.
Yeah, and then my other concern is just Fiora is kind of an unstoppable threat at this point. Like, they even have Jinx trying to match her, but Kennen cannot really hold her inside, and Kennen really wants to be team fighting, so curious to see how TL try to defend this Fiora split push.
Yeah. We also have to admit, Bradley as one of the players that we have held up as potentially the best top laner in the entire tournament. Is not looking good today.
FakeGod is just looking on fire, yeah.
FakeGod has absolutely been outclassing him over and over again in the side lane, looking for these solo kills on the Jax, beating up the Gangplank as well. And now, I mean, Bradley, I think he's had one good ultimate, and on Kennen, you definitely need to be looking for more than just trying to use it as a defensive tool, at which point you kind of ask, like, oh, I wish I was playing something else, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think FakeGod is just picking really good champions as part of it too, and just playing them well. Because he's just blinding both games, but the champions are just such a threat, and the way his team's playing around them is working really well.
Yeah.
Siege
now we
coming
see
in.
C9 grouping, trying to get all three inhibs maybe.
Yeah,
Romeo can go at any time.
Both of the marksmen.
Yeah,
Deep flank coming in from Bradley.
Bradley's going to be showing up, looking for a big play for Team Liquid right
Bradley
now.
trying to hide, but it's Infernal map. There's no bush for Bradley to hide in, and he goes in anyway.
Lost. Okay, Lost flashes out. Buster Shot going to be used on M&S. Tomio still there.
APA?
Now Lost can bring the damage, but there's APA.
Huge from APA.
Focusing down on the Lost. We'll be able to channel
Menez
the
going for Nexus on the other side. APA needs to defend.
Oh, you got to be fast. You got to be so fast if you're Team Liquid because you're about to get backdoored. There's M&S. There's FakeGod. And even if you got a team fight win, there's your chances of taking this game going right out the window. Cloud9 Challengers 2-0.
Wow. We've had so many backdoors so far already this season, right? Remember, you guys did it too, Moose Hater.
One of our games looked just like that.
It was against Cloud9. Now Cloud9 is doing it right on back to Team Liquid, but it was a 2-0 coming out from Cloud9, cementing their spot as, again, one of the top teams in the league thus far, and taking another win here over Team Liquid Challengers is definitely no win to scoff at.
And what a performance coming out of Cloud9 Challengers. Even when Team Liquid looked like they were getting control of that early game, brute force, man. Brute force, Cloud9 just bring it back. Some of the plays we saw out of M&S were spectacularly aggressive. Even FakeGod, who really did show up today for Cloud9 Challengers.
Yeah, I think really good engages from C9 side, and then just that one critical dragon fight. They just like hard outplayed, and then it's really hard for Tail to recover.
Yeah.
All right, so now, with that done, we're going to take a moment to throw it over to a short break. When we return, Joshi will be joined with FakeGod with an interview with our winners.
Hello and welcome to another NA Talent Update. In the spirit of Valentine's Day, we're going to be spreading a little bit of extra love this week. So we're going to start it off with Mazel as he walks us through the Challengers Safari.
Welcome to the Challengers Safari. Let's go on a journey to find the love language of the jungle. And here we have the likely duo of Sketch and Aaron, the bottom laners for CLG Faith. They find themselves in a bit of a tussle, but that synergy and love between Sketch and Aaron shows them through. And a little bit of a wombo combo. Now we see the epitome of a brotherly friendship in the wild. Svenskeren and Hanser. What love. And up here it seems we have a peaceful wolf, taking his time among the trees, but what is this? He's taking the... I think... I think he's got the dog in him! I think he's got the dog in him! Oh, I'm so sorry. Caught off guard there. You know, I do love brotherly times. And seeing these two work so well together. Oh, Svenskeren, you found yourself out. But luckily, your friend is always here. Oh, beautiful friendships and kinship in the wild. You see the more mature Winnie coming to save Darkwings. The familial bond really coming in strong and too much for Young to handle. That's true friendship.
We had some great plays on the Rift this past week, so I felt like I had to commemorate them this week with some Valentine's Day cards that you, and maybe even the players, might be able to use. My axe is thirsty. Are you?
Faisal, even though there was...
He can turn this.
He can turn this easily, flash away. That damage! Faisal, you don't fight him! You leave him alone! You let him have his own island! Even if you send Victor down, he's gonna chase it down! Triple kill!
What did we say?
Meet me between the turrets. I know we have 2 mid. Please look bot.
Mia's probably just dead. One shot. Yep.
Oh my god. Spin to win with me, and we can let it rip.
Backline on a keel. They've got zone control though with the
Got him,
and look at Moose Hater. Look at the heroic entrance. Double knockup they needed to. And Moose Hater, he stands there menacingly.
Oh, that's a kill. He's dead.
Over the competition. Lands kiting it back as Wild Card win the...
Thanks for joining us for another week of the NA Talent Update. We hope that you enjoyed a little bit of extra love that we had for our players this week. We hope that you spread that love to everyone around you, as we'll see you next week. And until then, may your week be filled with positive gaming experiences.
Welcome back, everyone, to the North American Challengers League. I am Joshua Joshi Howard, and for our final interview of the day, we are joined with Cloud9's dominant top laner, Fake God. First off, congratulations. Welcome to the interview desk. We want to start off with the big one. We were talking about how excited we were about the returning Team Liquid top laner, Bradley, as potentially one of the best top laners in the league, and let's be honest, you clapped him. You solo killed him at least twice, maybe 3 times today. Tell me a little bit more about how it has been coming into this league where we haven't seen you play in about 6 months.
It's been very interesting for me because for like the past 2 years I've been in LCS and then I stopped for a bit and then now I'm back here playing and it feels really good to be here, honestly, like playing. I'm not thinking about like the difference in competition. I just want to be like focusing on myself, so that's what I've been doing here, and I think it's been showing.
Gotcha.
Like, me playing in Challengers League.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely been looking quite good. And so kind of with that, you know, you're not necessarily thinking about your opponents so much, but obviously we kind of have to look at where you're kind of going next. And having played in LCS as recently as last year, what do you feel like you need to do here in the Challengers League in order to prove to the coaches and scouts that you deserve another shot?
I'm not really thinking about that, honestly, but I think I would just be doing the exact same things I'm doing right now, just focusing on playing well and just being very consistent and getting my team's wins and just keep on playing well like that.
All right, that makes sense. Well, let's look a little bit more at the rest of the team for the Cloud9 roster, because as we've looked at, you have 3 very veteran players. And Menace, who was, like, people had mixed opinions on him coming over to North America, and then of course, you know, the young guy Tomio coming through. How has been building up the team gone for you guys, and is Menace as good of a teammate as Azel seems to say he is?
I feel like we gelled together pretty well in the first like weeks we met, and it's been really good for like all of us. I think sorry, I haven't interviewed in a while. I think the only struggles we had were Tomio is such a new player that sometimes the rest of us 4 see things differently that he does, and it takes a while for him to adjust to that. So we've had some problems regarding that. But besides that, I think everyone gets along really well, and I'm really happy with how this like team environment is and my teammates in general.
Nice. What's the most fun thing that you guys have done as a team outside of scrims and practice?
We went out to eat once at like a hot pot place, and then I mean that's pretty fun. There's not a lot of things we did outside of scrims, honestly, because most of our time is just spent like in the area, like just playing and talking to each other then. So I would say the only thing outside of that was when we went out to eat hot pot together, and then we ate ice cream in the cold for like an hour because we had to keep waiting. And then I think Zazel got sick then, and then he had to get quarantined a third bit.
Oh no, poor
So
Hazel.
that wasn't very good, but that was pretty fun.
Well, all right. So you were talking to me a little bit before we actually started the real interview. You said that you're a big manga and manhwa reader, and you've been spending a lot of time on webtoons recently.
Yeah. I like manga a little
more.
A little more than manga.
Okay. All right. You know, we won't put that out into the universe. It's only manga. What is the best new manga that you've been reading that you would recommend to other people?
I'm not sure about new, but I don't know about new ones right now, but I did like reading sports manga a lot when I was trying to get back into like the competitive mindset, because it's so
inspiring.
Yeah, it's very it's like motivational to read about like sports manga, like these protagonists like wanting to like win and like get improve and like be like the best kind of person they can be, and then it's like, oh, it's just like me. You know, like when I read like sports manga, like the soccer manga, like Blue Lock or Aoashi, honestly.
There you go. I know Rafa has also been a big Aoashi fan recently as well, so hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of that. And I've heard the anime adaptation is also pretty good. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen both of them. They're really good.
Nice. Well, we're looking forward to seeing a little bit more than that. You guys have been doing quite well. Couple teams and a lot of people are kind of looking at Cloud9 as potentially being the #1 team in the league. What are your expectations for how the rest of the season and playoffs are going to be looking like?
For my expectations, I would say that we stay really consistent and stay as one of the top teams in Challengers, and just keep on winning like that. Those are my expectations.
Well, hopefully you guys can do that. You guys, with an emphatic 2-0, are continuing to showcase dominance. Are there any shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go today?
Shout out to C9 and my teammates and my coach Sam and everyone else at C9 that I probably didn't mention my name. Shout out to my parents, my mom and dad, my sister. Yeah.
That's it.
That's a lot of them.
All right, shout out to family. Always love supportive families as well. But with that, Fake God, thank you for joining us here on the Verizon post-game interview. I'm going to be bringing Desterix and Keel back in to close out the day. And man, guys, what a day it has been. Not necessarily always as we were expecting. Cloud9, I mean, we were expecting them to have good games against Team Liquid, but potentially not as dominant as they were throughout the last series.
I think our hot takes showed some of that. There's plenty of us that were very hopeful for Team Liquid's performance. I definitely was in that game number 2, but man, can anyone stop Cloud9? Maybe. Hold on, I gotta make sure I'm pointing the right. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Let's take a look at the standings at the end of the day as we look to wrap up here. Anything stick out to any of you two?
Yes. There are. If you look, this always happens in the Academy/Challenger ecosystem. You always have one, maybe a couple teams who are well above. Right now, it's currently Dignitas, and then between 2 and 11, it's a 4-game difference. Every single one of those teams is kind of in that blob. And then, of course, we have teams who are still trying to catch up. But it's kind of crazy to me how we always find ourselves here where we have such a large, what we might call middle of the pack, where even the teams on the lower end still need to be taken seriously by the teams on the top of that.
Anything stand out to you, Kill?
Looks like Dig 2-0'd, it looks like. Kind of surprised. I wasn't sure what I think about Dig or Fear. Like, I wasn't really sure how to rate them, so that's cool to see. And then I agree, like, there's a big middle of the pack. Just in the league in general, yeah.
Now, I gave about 6 teams that I thought could all potentially be the best team by the time playoffs are done. Are there any teams on here that are surprising to you as they are either too high or too low?
No. Honestly, no. I think it's pretty similar to what I expected. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Wildcard should be higher, though. It's the only surprise.
It's weird. You guys have a couple more games this weekend in order to catch up, right?
Yeah, you'll catch it up then. Well, we got to start wrapping up now, Keel. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the desk. Are there any shout-outs you have before we let you go?
In the words of Duo King, no.
Well, we will be putting a raid out, as you see down here, twitch.tv/Lux. That is Lux Bunny. Definitely remember that name. Magical got to
cast it. Oh, she casted with...
Yeah, I got the Nikki Taylor. That was my cast. But I want to thank you all for joining us. A big shout out to our broadcast partners, our producers, our observers, Rally Cry, Monkey Bubble, and of course you, the audience, for tuning in and catching the NACL. We'll be sure to see you tomorrow. Be sure to tune in, same place, same time, for more action for the North American Challengers League. We'll see you next time.